Hello everybody, I'm Mr. C. Willis, and welcome to my thoughts on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Just to give a quick disclaimer, this will be a non-spoiler video, so for anyone who's worried about spoilers or if anyone hasn't seen the movie yet and is waiting for it to be streamable, then yeah, this should all be good. I should also mention too, I will be going over my thoughts on the first Mario movie since I've never had an opportunity to talk about it before. Not to mention too, this isn't a scripted video, as you can probably tell from my voice and just the fact that I'm really bad and awkward at this type of thing. With that said, I do have notes, so I have that to remind myself because my memory is absolute garbage. But yeah, with that said, let's just get straight into this because yeah, there's a lot to talk about. First things first though, for those who don't know me, I am Mr. C. Willis. I literally just said that a couple seconds ago. If you've noticed my channel, you'll know that I'm a big Mario fan. In fact, some of my most popular videos on the channel so far are Mario stuff. And that Mario Galaxy is one of my favourite games of all time. One of my favourite 3D platformers even. Both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. Just in general, the whole series means a lot to me, and I mean, it's the whole reason why I'm here in the first place. It's the reason why I got introduced to the internet. It's why I got into gaming and everything. If it wasn't for Mario, I don't know if I'd be where I am today. With that said, the first Mario movie, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Overall, I really like it. I think overall it's like, yeah, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, but on a personal level it's like a 9. I generally do think it's a good movie, and, you know, for what it is and what it's trying to accomplish, on top of the fact that Mario in general isn't really that well known for its deep stories or, you know, in-depth characters. Looking back and seeing how that movie turned out, you know, even all these years later, I think it generally is a good time and represents really well, like, what the Mario series is all about and what it has to offer. Now, that said, there are some Mario games that do have more of a deeper story and characters, and a part of me did wish it, you know, spent a bit more time, you know, even if it was just 2 or 3 minutes longer, just so we could have more character interactions and getting to know them as characters and maybe learn a bit more about the world. I think that could have been really good. Not to mention too, it's really fast paced. Not the fastest movie I've ever seen, but I remember seeing it for the first time in cinemas and it just flashed by. The more I've rewatched it, the more I've realised, oh, okay, it's not as quick as I remember, but it is still fast-paced, nevertheless. But, yeah, I still think, despite its problems, it's pretty good. The action is really fun and creative. It really utilises the character's abilities and the power-ups and the environments that they're in. And animation and just the overall look of the film is absolutely gorgeous. Some of my most favourite visuals that I've seen in a movie. Illumination, like, if there's one thing they're really good at, it's the visuals. They absolutely nailed it. And also, again, animation. How the characters move, how expressive they can be. It's very well done. You can tell the people who worked on the movie grew up with Mario and You could tell they were really excited to make this movie come to life. And then in terms of the voice acting, I think the best voices are Luigi, Bowser and Kamek. Those three to me have the best and most accurate voices to me. All the other characters, they're okay. They're nothing great, but also nothing bad, I'd say. It's just fine. I guess a pass. And then of course, Charlie Day being in the movie, the original voice of Mario, him doing cameos is really sweet and heartwarming. And then you have the soundtrack, which, oh my goodness, absolutely fantastic. I keep forgetting the guy who does the music, my apologies, but incredible work. It's such a good soundtrack. There are some, what do you call it? Yeah, licensed music, licensed songs in the movie, which I don't mind when that happens. It's pretty common nowadays. And it also helps that the licensed songs are from the 80s, which is when Mario was made, so it does at least make somewhat sense. But there are some songs that I don't think really fit the scene, and it hurts even more when you realise they took some of the music out, or they took most of it out to replace it with the licensed music, which not a fan of. Much preferred if it was just the music that they had planned, especially for two of them. I forget what they're called. I think it's called 1-1 and Driving Me Bananas. Those two especially, I am so sad didn't make it in because they are so good and fit the scene way better than the licensed music that they ended up replacing. So yeah, that really sucked, but again, it's not the biggest deal ever. The fact we've got a full-on soundtrack for a video game movie that's actually based off the games, the fact that happened at all is a miracle, and I am just glad that most of the music is from the games. So yeah, like I said, really like it. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of found Mario to be a relatable character with the whole not giving up thing. Like, I know it's very basic and we've heard this story a bajillion times. It's an absolutely, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like cliche, like we've seen it 100 times, but I think it fits very well considering it's based off a video game, and the whole thing around video games is that, you know, they can be challenging and they can get tough as they go along, but you don't give up. And I don't know, I just found that very relatable, especially just in general when it comes to life and just how tough it's been for me with me being autistic and all that, and having my anxieties and my crappy mental health. I don't know, it just really hit me. Something I was able to connect to. And like I said, it's a pretty good lesson nevertheless, even if it has been redone a bajillion times. And yeah, I think that's about it for the Mario Bros. Movie. Like I said, I think it's an 8 out of 10, but a 9 out of 10 for me personally. Overall, still really good to watch, and I still enjoy it to this day. So with all that said, what did I think of the Galaxy movie? As someone who grew up with Mario, and as someone who absolutely adores the Galaxy games, as someone who loves them so much, they mean so much to me. What did I think of this movie? Oh boy. What? Oh my gosh, where do I even? There's so much to talk about. Oh man, you know, I really hate to say this, but I was not kidding. I loved it. Oh, I love this movie so much. Okay, well, it's complicated. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not messing around. I genuinely really enjoy this movie. I had a fun time watching it, and I think there's definitely a lot to like about it. But yeah, there's a reason why there's a lot of mixed opinions going around right now. And yeah, it is a lot. I will say, I'll just get this out of the way, to all those people and critics who are like, oh, it's evil, TikTok, slop, BS for kids. No, it isn't. You clearly have not been on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok. I don't even have most social medias. I only have like YouTube and Discord, but even then, like, I've seen people react to TikTok stuff, and my goodness, you clearly haven't been on there. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna act like this is super kiddie, this is for babies only, to entertain them for a few hours, you tell me it's just for them, and it's nothing but just dumb slop, like, no, come on, it's not that bad. It really isn't. When it comes to this movie, there's a lot in it where you can tell they worked super hard on it. Mostly when it comes to animations and, again, the look of the film and the music, but nevertheless, there is stuff in there that's, you know, that's just really sweet, that's really good, and I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not describing this the best I can, but it just generally does feel like the people who worked on this cared. You know, even if this movie is a mess, and even if it is all over the place and is, again, very fast-paced, I don't know, I just don't see why people are being so negative on it. And granted, I am aware this happens a lot with a lot of big popular movies that don't get high scores and aren't as good as people were hoping for. There's always so many people that over-exaggerate and, you know, all that baloney. It's a shame and it is sad to say, but at the end of the day, for a Mario movie made by Illumination, I don't know, I think what we got was pretty enjoyable and, again, has some really good parts to it. Anywho, with that said, what did I think? To get the negatives out of the way, there are some things I can agree with the critics. Not all of them are being BS. They do have some valid points, and same goes for fans of Mario who watched this and either came out feeling mixed or didn't end up liking it much. And yeah, first things first, this is a fast-paced movie. Like the first Mario movie, although funny enough, this movie did not feel as quick as the first one to me, and I don't know why. Like, I pretty much remember most things that happen in this movie. Like, at least 95% I do remember. In terms of in what order from start to finish, that does, in that case, I do have some gaps in my knowledge. But, I don't know, I was just able to follow it pretty well. I don't know what to say. But nevertheless, it was very fast-paced. It's not hard to tell why people probably had trouble, you know, trying to figure out what was going on. Especially to those who aren't Mario fans. Oh, I know it's not the first time it's happened, like with Pokemon movies, but to any parents who watch this movie with their kids and doesn't know much about Mario, mamma mia, they're probably very confused. And then, like I said, the movie is all over the place. There are some things that they set up and they don't really do anything with, like at all. Or there's some things where they just don't do enough of something. Like, you know, you got a character that has a relationship with someone and they have some cute scenes together and all that, but it doesn't really go far enough. And it doesn't really go anywhere. And then there's this thing with a villain and their son. You can probably guess what I'm talking about, but yeah. And, you know, they have a cute relationship, and there's this whole thing that's going on with one of the villains, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and at some point they just forget about it. Like, it feels like they had so many ideas that they wanted to do, but they just couldn't utilize it, or they just didn't have the time, and they were always thinking to themselves in the back of their heads that, oh, okay, yeah, we have all this stuff from the first movie that people want to see more of, and we want to have a big focus on that, but also how do we connect this with that, and, you know, what do we do with this character, and, like, I don't know. Again, it is hard to explain, but just know that this movie is a mess. It is very messy. But, yeah. Despite that, though, it is still a lot of fun. And, you know, any good stuff that is in this movie is genuinely very good to say, like, as a fan of the series, which is what this movie is, you know, aiming for. This movie is made for the fans. Not saying that's an excuse, because I hate that. I hate that whole, oh, this movie sucks, and it's like, oh, but it's made for the fans. I mean, yeah, sure, but that's not an excuse for why it can be bad. You can't point at a movie and say, oh, it's made for the fans. That doesn't get rid of the negatives. And speaking of bad excuses as well, there's that whole, oh, it's for the kids. Come on, it's not for you adults. First of all, that's not true, because Mario games aren't just for kids, they're for everyone. And second of all, how does saying a movie is made for kids make it any less bad? I'm someone who grew up with Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks, and they made incredible movies that were made for kids to be enjoyed as well as adults. And they're some of the best movies ever in cinema. Like, there's so many I could name off the top of my head. Like, so many great masterpieces that kids were able to follow along and adults were able to enjoy as well. So, yeah, I don't buy that. I'm not. I may be a defender of this movie, but nah. I can't disagree with some of the problems this movie does have. But anywho, yeah, what did I enjoy? Well, to start off with, this movie has a lot of enjoyable characters. And, like I said already, there's some genuine good moments, there's some really fun interactions, some really cool set pieces, and just really lovely moments that I really enjoyed. Action sequences, once again, are incredible. There's a really good variety of different battles, and yeah, just the way the camera moves, there's some good choreography, is that how you say it? I don't know. And then, yeah, just like I said, very creative, utilising the power-ups, utilising the different characters and abilities and the environment. It's all good fun. And as expected, like with the previous movie, visuals are absolutely gorgeous. It's even more beautiful than the first film. There's so much to look at. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I teared up sometimes seeing some of the visuals. It's so good. And the soundtrack, oh my goodness, the soundtrack, the Galaxy music, it's so well done. And while I do think there are 2 or 3 licensed music in this, it's not for long, and they just show up really quickly, and that's about it. So yeah, that's an improvement. I'd say 95% of the music is just, well, the music. It's the actual soundtrack. There's not much licensed music at all. So that's really cool. Very happy they did that. Massive props to them. I think that's a lot better. And again, it made me tear up because I grew up with Mario and Galaxy, and it's so well done. I feel like just in general there were a few times where I cracked up a little bit. It's weird because on one hand, I can be very critical and I can be very nitpicky, but at the same time, depending on what I'm watching, it doesn't take much for me to be impressed. It doesn't take much for me to, you know, be happy with something. So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because even though I do agree with a lot of the movie's problems, just, you know what it is actually? You know what it is? I think it's the fact that, well, number one, the more promotion of this movie came out, the more people realised it isn't just Galaxy, which I had a feeling was going to be the case. I feel like if you're one of those people who were expecting a one-to-one redo of the games, you got your expectations way too high. Because the first movie didn't do that. It was the Mario Bros. Movie. That didn't mean it was just the Mario Bros. Games. They had a whole bunch of different stuff from all the other Mario games. But yeah, I think the main reason why this movie didn't bother me as much as others, knowing how Illumination are and knowing how most of their films are, and, you know, just overall how the first movie turned out and how it seems like they want to go about making these films. Which is, you know, again, very action heavy, very fast paced, you know, just this big, colourful, fast adventure that doesn't have a big focus on story. It's just there to, you know, have fun and just show off these characters doing the things that we love, and, you know, just really just putting the games into movie form, and I'm fine with that. Obviously, I would like if they, you know, went more into story, and if they did have just more writing for the characters, give them more time to have interactions, and actually give them arcs to go through and everything. But considering how Illumination are, which, no offense, they're not really the best or well known at all for stories and characters. A lot of their movies do, a lot of their movies are recommended for, like, young kids. Again, not to say that adults can't enjoy them. I've seen plenty of people who have enjoyed Illumination movies, and some of them I would say are actually pretty good, but there are a lot of Illumination movies that are like, the meh, or they're just not for me. They aren't movies that I'd ever go back and watch. Especially some of them, because man, oof. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't go into this movie with high expectations or low expectations. I just wanted to go in, and however I felt after watching is how I feel. And overall, funny enough, like the first movie, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, and on a personal level, it's a 9 out of 10. Definitely has a lot of issues, and it definitely could have been paced a lot better, and, you know, if they had rewritten this movie at least 1 or 2 more times, maybe it could have been better. But, again, for what these movies are going to be, which do seem to be just taking the fun of the games and putting them in the movie, we're not gonna focus much on story, we're not gonna do too much with characters, it's just gonna be bare minimum. We just want to give people an entertaining movie that has references and Easter eggs and has all the cool visuals and great music we all know and love, and yeah, just do that. And again, I'm fine with, a part of me does hope that they do at least listen to the reviews and that they will at least try to improve on the mistakes on this and the previous movie. Because, yeah, they clearly didn't improve anything from the last film in terms of that movie's problems. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Despite my issues and despite there being things in the movie that I'm not a fan of, in terms of them changing stuff for the sake of the story they're telling. So that does push me back from this being as good as I was hoping it could be, but at the same time, having a feeling and having an idea of what this movie was going to be, I just sat down, relaxed, and just went along for the ride, and yeah, I think I found it pretty enjoyable. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think that's about it. With that said, depending on how well this video does, you know, if people do check this out and are interested to know more about my feelings on the movie, I do have potential plans to go more in depth, and by that I mean I'm gonna go into full spoilers and basically talk about the movie from start to finish. I was in fact planning that originally, along with what I've said here, but because there are a few gaps in my knowledge in terms of how the film starts and how it exactly goes all the way to the finish, I do feel like I need a reminder. And lucky for me, I will be seeing this movie again, because originally, when I went to go see it first in IMAX, which was absolutely amazing, I love IMAX, I highly recommend it. I was meant to go see it with someone in my family, but they couldn't make it because of work and people calling in sick, so he unfortunately couldn't come. But when having a conversation with him yesterday and asking, you know, hey, do you want to go see it still? Because I'm more than down to see it again, and he said yes. So yeah, I'll be seeing it tomorrow, which is exciting, and hopefully after that I'll be able to write down in my notes exactly how the movie goes from start to finish. Not that it matters too much, I know. I don't have to be exact. Because this movie does have a lot and it does go by pretty quickly. But also, by rewatching it again, hopefully I can catch more info and, you know, if there's any more things to say, then I will. So, yeah, I'll see how that goes. But again, that all depends on how this does. I don't want to bother making it if you guys aren't too interested. I'm not sure. It is something I do feel like I want to make regardless, but at the same time, knowing how long I'm going to be talking for and how much there is to talk about, I don't know if I'd want to make it. I don't know. Even though it is just me sitting down and talking into a microphone, if I screw up and if I need to edit the video and if it's going to take a while for me to get out, I'd rather know if people aren't interested. Especially when there are other things on my mind I'd like to do videos on. But, yeah, we shall see. Anywho, that's me done. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you want to do that. Please don't be ashamed to say what you think, unless of course you're just going to be mean, in which case, don't bother. We don't need any of that negativity. Whether you liked it or not, this film is not something we should be fighting over. I know these movies and Mario mean a lot to us, but that's not an excuse for us to be fighting. It's a movie at the end of the day, like, come on. So yeah, just obviously be respectful. We're all different human beings, we all have our different opinions, and that's okay. Yeah, here's hoping you guys enjoyed the movie. And, you know, if not, here's hoping the next one will be better for you, and, yeah. Oh, and before I go, I did want to make a quick thank you. These Mario videos that have done well on my channel, considering how my YouTube channel is at the moment, to see how many views and how many people have watched them, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I cannot thank you all enough. That is just amazing support. So thank you very much, and if you enjoyed this, do the usual, give the like, and if you want to stick around, please subscribe, please. That's all I have to say. Subscribe, notification bell, you know the deal. I don't like to say that, but if people do want to stick around, that's the best thing to do. It's all for free. It would help a lot, especially as someone who just want to continue doing YouTube and as someone who would like to do YouTube for a living if possible. So it'd be very appreciated. And yeah, for now that will do it. If you guys want to know more about my thoughts on the movie and want me to go into full spoiler territory, where I go into more detail and talk about the whole movie, please let me know. I may or may not do it depending on how well the video does, I shall see. But either way, this will do it for now. If you're a big fan of Mario and if you enjoyed the previous film, I highly recommend seeing this Galaxy film. And yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. All that said and done, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope you all enjoyed. Bye bye!